Oh my gosh, Chris Kendall from the Raw Advantage, and we got the greenhouse masters, permaculture experts. They've been throwing it up mad out here, making it crazy compost central here. We got Billa and Dane.
Yo!
What's going on?
What up?
You guys have really regenerated this farm of life, farmoflifecr.com, farm of life greenhouse. What's going on down here?
Oh man, we just been totally regenerating and totally getting the compost down. We got a little system here. We right now we got about 5 compost bins.
5.
And there's 3 over there. You can check it out.
Billa, tell me first, what role does compost play in a healthy garden?
Okay, well first of all, we're connecting up to the system from the kitchen. So
Okay.
we're eating stuff, right? And we end up with all these food scraps, especially when we're raw because we have so much fruit going through the kitchen.
When we guys first got here, we had this crazy compost pile over here that had sour smell and worms and stuff. What was going on there? What happened there?
Well, when we got here, I think there was maybe a raw retreat that happened. So there's tons and tons of fruit, and especially a lot of acidic fruit, and they were just piled up about that high of just solid fruit, and nothing really else to kind of counter that and to balance that.
And this farm is a raw food retreat with huge retreats of 15-20 people at a time, and they have bucket loads of food scraps, and it was just coming down here getting thrown into one bin without a composting system, and it was no bueno.
Smelly.
Anaerobic.
We have another video about that one, so...
Where can we watch that video?
Oh my god, guys. What is that? That's not how you make compost. Things are really bad when I have to put boots on. This is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. This is maybe a few months of citrus.
Do not put citrus in your compost. Rule number 1.
And mango and every other fruit that you can imagine in tropical Costa Rica thrown in here on top of it itself over and over and over again, and it's gone rank, and we're fixing it. This is a sick compost and it really stinks.
How's it going, guys?
Oh, it's going so great. This smells like flowers. Why aren't you in here? You want to help us?
It's seasonal fruit. Peace, love, and seasonal fruit.
This is seasonal
Sister. Okay, so the problem here is that there was no layering. There was just massive amount of fruit thrown in, buckets of it every day, with no carbon, with no greens, with no aeration, with no water, and the fruit has just condensed.
It wasn't covered at all. It was just exposed. So what happened? A lot of flies came in, laid a lot of eggs, and just broke out in tons of maggots. And the smell was just awful. It was just, it stunk up the whole farm, just because it was too anaerobic. And when it gets really anaerobic, it gets really smelly.
So we've repaired that compost, and we've made 5 more compost for these guys because that's what we thought is the quantity that they need to handle the amount of stuff coming from the kitchen. Okay, so we want to take that resource of food from the kitchen, turn it into something good that goes back in the garden.
Beautiful, beautiful. Let's bring kind of some permaculture and kind of symbiotic kind of relationships in there, hey?
Totally, yeah.
Okay.
Permaculture. Restart the land. Permaculture at its finest, folks. That's what permaculture is all about. You want to become a designer? You got to go through this.
Yeah, taking responsibility for the flows of resources that come into the farm, processing the scraps, or what we call, kitchen waste, into something that can actually build soil to grow more food, so less food has to be brought in.
Beautiful. You guys just started this over here, so this is the beginning. This is stage 1 for a compost, right?
And what we got here is on the bottom layer. You can see we got leaves from the forest over there. You can maybe show them the jungle over there.
Jungle.
We harvested a bunch of leaves from the forest, and then put a nice pile of sticks in the middle of that, and then covered that with a layer of fresh cut green banana leaves. Just breaking it down, chopping it down so it'll go in the compost and break down a little easier. And then covered that with some food scraps. And then a nice layer of horse manure.
Every time we put some food scraps into the compost, we want to put a layer of manure and a layer of greens, and then finish with carbon.
So this is a nice start, and then it's just going to keep building and building with food scraps, horse manure, and carbon, and that's kind of the layering system that we want to be having here. So
what's that layering system again? Right from the beginning, just.
When you're starting a compost,
Yep.
Start with some sticks for aeration.
Yep.
Let's see.
Then green leaves. And then we go food scraps from the kitchen. Then manure, then the carbon layer, which is your dry stuff, any form of dry stuff.
Now for us, if we're back home, and let's say you can't access some horse manure or something, or maybe you're like, I'm super vegan, I can't do horse manure, no way, you know, like what are some other things you can do?
Okay, well, anything dark green,
Yeah.
but not shiny. Typically shiny leaves will have like volatile oils,
Yeah.
and might put a reaction in your system that you don't want.
Yeah.
So dark green moist leaves will work.
Okay.
Chopped up.
Okay.
Now we're taking the greens, throw them in the compost. Basically what we're doing is we're trying to take what we learn in nature and what nature does and kind of apply it in our own systems.
Intensified.
And intensified it, because we have a lot of, especially here, we have a lot of food scraps and stuff, so we gotta really up the heat a little bit. But essentially what we're doing, what permaculture does a lot, is just take what's in nature, we learn from that, and kind of mimic those systems that happen in nature. In nature, this system kind of happens, but on a lower scale and more long term, because it's not as hot and high heat, but it's cooler, but it's a similar system.
So speaking of high heat, you know, I've seen some of these composts smoke a little bit. You know, pretty hot. You know. Yeah. What's going on with that? How'd you get that going on? This is some other compost. These are a little older.
This one's the oldest. This one's like halfway. And when you get those layers right, food scraps, manure or green, and carbon, you set off a chemical reaction, an anaerobic reaction, and it will create heat and heat the pile up. As soon as you start that combination, even that layer might be heated up tomorrow. So this one is sitting here and it's super hot in there.
Okay, and there's not really a smell to it. There's not really bugs and flies flying all over the place, and you know, that's the mark of a good compost, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you have a right ratio of carbon, manure, and food scraps, right? Then it's going to be in a balance. When it's out of balance, you see things like bugs, or it gets anaerobic and it smells a lot.
Yeah, it's not breaking down. Like the problem with sewage is you've got all this sort of waste product sitting in water, and there's nothing to trigger off the chain reaction that we create in compost, right? So it smells. So we should never be pulling into water into toilets. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because I mean, yeah, a lot of the stuff that passes through our system, if we're eating a nice, clean, pure diet, doesn't get absorbed by us. So why not let it pass back into the soil with all those beneficial bacteria, nutrients that we produce? Because there's that B12 we produce below our absorption point. It comes out, we can put it back into the soil, make sure we get it that way too.
In our natural state, when we're living within the nature and within the forest, you know, that's kind of how we released our waste. You know, it was back into the earth, and seeds were sprouted, and you know, that's
go poop and plant a tree, right?
And
exactly.
Like the beautiful thing for raw food is you're having this clean system, clean food diet. You actually get to give a blessing back to nature. Like your poop is pretty good. It's a gift. Whereas
same with your pee. Your pee is high in nitrogen, so when you're peeing back in the forest, it's a gift. And to have that awareness around it too is powerful.
Feel it every time you do. Every time you pee, you're giving a gift, and you can give it to a tree. You can give it to your compost. You can give it to your friend, maybe.
Yeah.
They may not appreciate it unless they're Dane or Billa or myself, and we really know what's up.
And
but now you know what's up.
For all you who eat your citrus, your avocados, and your pineapples, keep those out of your compost. They're very acidic. The avocados take a really long time to break down. it's not enough time for your regular compost. You want to keep those separate, and you can look into things like biochar and other ways to reuse those kind of resources.
Okay. Is there any other like super big no compost things? You know, like meat scraps or like animal foods or your own doo-doo. You know, all those types.
Don't put your own doo-doo in there.
Unless you're an experienced compost maker and you can get the heat up to like 100 degrees Celsius. You would be careful about stuff that you put in there because dangerous bacteria and things like that from meat or from human manure.
Check out the human manure handbook.
The human manure handbook.
Yeah.
Check that online. That gives you a lot of resources, information on how to reuse your own feces.
Sweet. Is there anything that I missed here? You know, I want to enlighten all these guys to the super awesome benefits of compost, also the permaculture kind of way of doing this compost. Is there anything that you guys would really like to put up there beyond that, what we saw?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's plenty of stuff online. You can look up how to make good compost and check out permaculture websites and biodynamic websites. But your main thing is you've got your food scraps, you want your green or your manure as your next layer, and then always finish with carbon, which is anything that's dry, hay, leaves, sawdust, wood shavings. Finish that, give it a hose down.
Coconut husks.
Yeah. Give it a hose down and it will work its thing. And it'll be beautiful.
And have fun with it. Don't think of it as like a chore. Have fun with it, because the results, if you really put your time and energy, just like with everything, it's gonna really flourish, and you'll have that beautiful, beautiful black gold. That's just it's priceless in my opinion. So have fun with it. Our culture is losing a lot of topsoil, and that's something that we can try and rebalance.
More compost, more fruit trees, simple living, less clear cutting.
Booyah.
Booyashaka?
Booyakashaka.
Alright, you heard it here at the Raw Advantage. Got Dane and Billa. Thanks, guys. You guys are the best. Yeah! Raw Advantage getting crazy. Blessings.